Hey everyone, thanks again for coming back and tuning in for this video. It's actually the wee hours of the morning, as you can see here, but let's get a video done. So we're going to take a look at the LionSteel KUR. This is a new model from LionSteel. Already has an accolade under its belt, winning the overall Knife of the Year from Blade Show 2016. This one arrived from Italy a couple days after I got back from Blade, so essentially I count it as one of my Blade Show scores just based on timing. But let's get into the specs, overall impressions, and details on this really interesting knife coming out of Maniago Italy and LionSteel. So I'll show you what it ships with. It just ships with this little branded cardboard box. Had a little, I don't know, like a plastic sleeve over that or something. You know, your typical warranty information. If you guys are accustomed to the LionSteel knives, you'll recall they typically come in like these really nice wooden boxes. This one's been toned down a bit, and that's because they brought the price down to a very reasonable price. We'll talk about value a little bit. But spec-wise, let's get into it. And to talk about the specs, let's bring in the predecessor, which is the LionSteel TRE. Kind of a controversial little folder for its 3 different methods of opening. So, yeah, we'll just put them side by side here to give you guys an idea of the difference here. But anyways, blade length on the KUR here, or KUR, is about 3.4 inches. Handle length is 4.5 if you're just going to the end of the handle, but about 4.7 if you're going to the end of the lanyard hole slash, I don't know, skull crusher, whatever you want to call that. The overall length is right around 8 inches or so, depending on how you want to measure it. Handle thickness, this is a kind of a thick folder here, comes in at 0.64 inches. Grab the TRE real quick here, show you guys some of the differences in size. So 0.64 inches, and it does weigh in on my scale at 5.85 ounces, so a fairly hefty, kind of thicker folder here. So dedicated flipper. This one is a multitude of methods for opening, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the specs here. So it is, this particular one is the Black G10 version. It is Sleipner steel, wire pocket clip. It does use an inset stainless steel liner. It's a liner lock. And yeah, titanium backspacer, stainless steel pocket clip. So dedicated flipper, it's not removable. Yeah. Alright, overall impressions on this particular knife. Bang for the buck, it's definitely one of the best out there right now. This version retails for 170 bucks street. So for 170 bucks you can pick up a you know, a really well built flipper here. It's bigger, it's comfortable, it's kind of chunky in the hand. Some really nice features like the rounded spine and the titanium backspacer. Flips really hard, really well. And the bearings are pretty smooth. Not the smoothest bearings ever, but you know, they still feel like bearings, so yeah. This one's still kind of breaking, and I've carried it a bit. Already dropped it once on concrete, got a nice scuff, but you know, no big deal, c'est la vie. But yeah, incredible bang for the buck. This one's really well executed. Again, if you know, if that thickness in the hand here and that little bit of extra heft is fine for you, which it is for me, this is a really, really nice one to pick up this year. Definitely kind of a workhorse. And at that price, you know, you shouldn't really be too worried about beating the crap out of the knife. So, yeah, as compared to the smaller, more refined TRE here, which is my suit knife, to be honest. So if I'm in slacks or a suit, this is absolutely my go-to. So, yeah. All right, let me show you guys some of the details then. So we do have a full flat ground Schleipner blade. This one is stone washed, and again, it's got a nicely rounded spine. Something you definitely will not find on knives in the the sub $200 range. So there's the LionSteel Italy with the blade steel designation. Designer, of course, is Michele Pensato. His nickname is Molletta, which means like pocket clip. So obviously he designed the SR1, the SR2, the TRE. He's their primary engineer and designer. Seems to be a very, very bright individual. Does a lot of R&D. So he does interact on the LionSteel subforum on Blade forums. So if you want to learn a little bit more about him, that's where you can find it. He also named this model, I believe. So KUR is Sumerian for mountain. So that is where the LionSteel KUR picks up its name. So yeah. And again, this knife, or one version of this knife, actually won the Blade Show 2016 Overall Knife of the Year. Not this G10 version. It was in fact the aluminum handled version that looks black, and then as you hold it in the heat of your hand, changes the color. Essentially, it makes it see-through, and then you can see the camouflage pattern underneath, which is actually on the aluminum handles. So there'll probably be some videos somewhere of that process. Cool, not necessary. I think it adds another 10 or 15 bucks to the price here, but yeah, $160 for this G10 model. There are some different colors like orange and green, and some other ones that I don't recall at the moment, but yeah. All right, so yeah, we've talked about the blade. Now the flipper tab does not have any jimping, but it does work well, that flat face. You guys can hear and see the action on this one. So really fast, great detent. Centering is perfect. Lockup is probably about 40% or so. And then the access to the lock bar is it's really easy to get to. They've got a big old cutout right there. You've got a flat face to access, so yeah, quite easy to utilize. And the nice thing too is the lock bar sits a little bit under the G10 handle, so when you have it in the hand here, there's really no worries of engaging the liner lock at all. So you can really just bear down on this thing and know that you're not affecting the lockup in the slightest. Yeah, perfect centering. So there is some jimping here on the spine. It is it's likely stainless steel right here, so does offer a little bit of traction. Obviously on the rounded spine you're not going to get any traction, but again, just a very enjoyable aspect of a knife when it has a rounded and somewhat polished spine. So, and then that's continued here into the rounded titanium backspacer. Again, just a nice feature. This obviously takes time and money to do. So generous, well, a moderate sized lanyard hole on the back, and then as you can see, the pocket clip does integrate into the backspacer. GP Knives actually did a video on how to swap the pocket clip over, so you can actually take out 1 and 2 screws and then pull this out, swap over the pocket clip, close it back up, put the screws back in. So check out GP Knives channel if you want to see how that process works for any lefties out there. The handles do have a nice bit of milling here. Again, thicker but quite comfortable. Not completely rounded, but have a contoured feel in the hand. So yeah. Now this does use bearings, of course. In one of my previous videos I mistakenly remarked that this was the IKBS logo. It's similar, but this isn't actually the IKBS logo. I haven't taken this one apart, but from some of the reports, the balls are actually captured. They're not free floating, which makes it much nicer for maintenance. And then the back side of the pivot is captured in the G10, so as you tighten or loosen this side will stay stationary, which is quite nice quite nice feature for those who want to take apart and maintain their knives. So, yeah. Alright, now the pocket clip did come initially fairly tight. As I've used it more, the tension has decreased a little bit, so a little bit easier to get in and out of the pocket. You might have to work with the clip just a little bit initially, or just carry it a lot and it'll, you know, work itself out there. But yeah. Back to the Sleipner steel. If I know I already mentioned that, but just to reiterate, the TRE here was actually done in M390, which is you know, a nicer steel. Let me give you guys another look here at the size comparison between the two. Butt to butt, pivot to pivot, thickness. Yeah, quite large size differences. Differences in the weight too. Again, the TRE I see it as a very nice, well done gentleman's carry in this smaller size here. So, just an insane amount of detail work. Price wasn't bad on these either. I don't recall what it is right now. I'm sure someone watching knows. But it, you know, wasn't too bad. Obviously, there's a lot more machine time, you know, in this particular model as compared to the KUR here. So, yeah. Alright, well, I think that's pretty much everything. So, again, just a really kind of feature-rich, value-orientated flipper coming out of LionSteel. Overall knife of the year for 2016. Good stuff. So, LionSteel doesn't do a lot with their in-house brand. They're so busy doing OEM work for quite a few other brands that I think their time is very much tied up. So we're seeing maybe at most, it feels like maybe one new model of the year from LionSteel. They do have a new pen, which I handled at Blade, which is cool. But I'm looking forward to seeing more from them. I really like their in-house offerings. So, yeah. Alright, we'll call it good there. Thanks for tuning in and bearing with me if you stuck it out this far. You can also follow me on Instagram as Epic Snuggle Bunny. And see you guys soon. Take care.